It turned out, I actually felt a little bad too because I get it. I was understanding, but at the same time, I didn't regret bringing it to the principal because I would have rather this happen than something bad happen. So like, I don't regret
Right.
doing what I did. Because at the end of the day, I gotta protect my kids.
Right.
But turns out he was just a lonely man that he's a widower. He just is lonely. He's so lonely. He goes to I found out he does go to all of the games, all different ages. He'll go to the senior football game and like um he like and it's not just him, like all of the bus drivers, all of the coaches, all of the um like everyone, like the whole town, even like the businesses, they're all going to the games too because they all have kids in them. So it's like whenever there's a game, like half the town is at each game.
I like
I
that.
just happen
So,
to have not seen it.
right. I like that they all are very, united and the town, everybody knows everybody. However, there's appropriate things that you can do and there's things that are inappropriate to do, you know? So one of the things is, okay, maybe going to someone's game is not a bad thing, right? It's not a creepo thing. However, I mean, you don't have kids, so that you do have to keep your eyes open. And having kids sit on his lap is not an allowable, permissible thing for any adult to do,
That's what
with
got me.
young children. Yes. And so that's one of the things like, okay, yes. And I don't, I hate that I watch all these shows. And I'm telling you, I think it's because I watch them, they just pop up on my either TikTok or YouTube. There's a town in California where these kids have a soccer coach very recently. This one kid who was an aspiring soccer player that was in a team, the coach told them to come over to his house to help make shirts for the team shirts.
Yeah.
So they went. He had to take a bus there, and he never came back. They called the the son, and he didn't pick up. They called the coach. The coach was acting weird. He like, oh, my hands are dirty. I have all this ink and stuff, and then hung up. They called the authorities, and they told them everything that happened. They did a search. Turns out the guy was a predator. He had sexually abused him, and then he discarded the body somewhere else. And then there were other um, kids after that that came out, and I'm talking about kids like 12, you know, that came out, and that they said that previously he had tried to assault them too, or that he did. So this soccer coach had been doing this for to other people. Unfortunately, he ended up killing this boy. I don't know how bad everything was that he ended up having to discard, you know what I mean, do what he did and kill him and discard him. And it was horrific. It just happened. And so that's what I'm saying, like, not to be scared like of the world, but to be cautious, to be, take that extra precaution to make sure that your kids are safe. I'm going to tell you, and I know people are going to frown upon this. We're going through this Bible study. We're going through like you have had some great conversations with God that has turned your life around, and me too. And I don't want to live in fear, but it is crazy the amount of stories that I hear of people that I used to be addicted to porn. I used to be addicted to porn, from like the young kid to like freaking pastor. Oh, I used to be addicted to porn, and I used to be addicted to porn. And a lot of these predators that do commit crimes, I'm not saying all of them will, you see patterns of that. And so I was talking to my husband. I'm like, it is scary. I'm like, you as a man, can you tell me? Because I really wanted to know. I was talking to my Bible study people. We had a really long conversation about, the the people that are like, because women are different from men. Maybe there are some women the same, but like, yes, addiction to porn is a thing that some of the women struggle with, their spouses or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, at what I thought it, and I told them, I think it starts from a young age. And it's someone said, yes, actually it does. There's scientific studies that they start from like age 6 or 7, that they start watching these things. Yes, they start watching these things. And like, if I think about it, my son, plays games in like Roblox. And I even heard some crazy things about that recently that my husband and I are like, we have to restrict it. And even after you restrict it, I heard something else that even if you restrict it, they can still get around. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to get our kids off of that? Which I know we're going to, and I'm just going to put the hammer down. But how do I explain the why and to make sure that they understand and how to look out for these signs of things that shouldn't be, And we just have to be very careful, because everybody who commits crimes, they were not always like that. It's not like you wake up in the morning and say, I want to go and commit a crime, or I want to go hurt someone. Nobody, I don't think, wakes up just like all of a sudden, like, I just want to go, hurt somebody. I want to make someone's life miserable. I think there's something that, like, there's a switch that goes on after like continuous, like I don't know if it's like a something playing in their head, and then it just becomes like this. I don't know. I
I
really don't
agree.
have an answer to that, but like, it starts from young, and we need to just be careful. And as parents, we already went through those stages. Like, I remember when my mom would tell me no to sleepovers, and I just hated it. I'm like, all my friends are having sleepovers. Now I'm doing it to my daughter. My daughter's like telling her friend, hey, can you ask my mom? This one friend said, Miss Athena's mom, can, why can Athena have a sleepover? And she already knows the answer, because the answer is always no. And she's like, well, why can't she have sleepovers? And it's hard. I know I hate to have to explain, but like, no, you cannot, because you just never know, the brother, the uncle, the father. I mean, how do you explain that to a child? I'm still trying. I am starting. I did start to talk to my kids about stuff like that and why, and they do understand, but they still have the desire to want to do those things that are that that could put them in danger.
I had to have some talks with Rory, and he's only 8,
Hmm.
but so like I took off YouTube Kids off of his Switch like last year. It was a while back. And I did it because it was actually a funny story how we found out. So I have like the parental Norton. I bought the
Hmm.
Norton package. So I can like see everything that's happening on there and like see what he's searching and stuff. Well, in order to have a Switch account, you have to use our email. So my husband put his email on the Switch so he can log into his account. And we had YouTube Kids on there at one point. Well, I had like I didn't actually even, here's the other thing too. I wasn't notified by Norton. Like I just as a mother, I just happened to go in there and snoop because I'm honestly I'm just nosy. Um,
Same.
but I was like, let me just, and this was the first time that this has ever happened. Most of the time I go in there and I'm like, oh, great. He got more Pokemon coins or something. Good for him. Maybe we need to go to this geo spot now or whatever. Like there's other, like I just see that kind of stuff. But This time I saw a lot of YouTube kids on there being played. And normally he's only using YouTube Kids with me in the room, and it's normally at like when we're waiting at a doctor's office or something. Like, it's not a whole lot, and he does a lot more games than he does YouTube Kids. Before I even started checking the Norton app, the week before, my husband on his YouTube shorts, his like doom scrolling moments, right?
Right.
um he saw more like women and like
Mm,
sexual stuff and stuff and I didn't really care. I was like, when he was like, no, I'm really not searching that up. I don't know what's going on. Like I'm really not. And I was like, you obviously are, dude. It's all right. I'm pretty confident. You know if you're losing if you go. Like, I don't
right,
care.
right.
And he was like, no, it's not. And I was like, okay, cool. Like it didn't matter. And then just so happens his best friend at work also had this happen to him.
Oh,
And I was like, that's a coincidence. And me and her are friends too. And so I don't know what happened, but they're connected to like, I don't know if it's Amazon Prime or Netflix, but they like use our stuff. It's all
mm-hmm.
on my husband's account stuff, right? All of this is tied on his email. I go check the Norton app just to check on Rory, and the boy looked at searched in the search bar kissing.
Oh, I think you told me about that. Yes, 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 yes.
And we said, okay, so we locked off everything, like the whole switch was just locked down.
Oh,
And he came downstairs because we called him. We were like, hey, son, come on down. I said, okay, so tell me about this. And yeah, that it messed with his whole algorithm. And
oh,
yeah. And so I was like, he was like, see, it wasn't me, my husband.
oh, your poor husband.
I was like, I was like, even if it was, I honestly really don't care. It's
Yeah.
fine. He still deals with it today. But he
Oh,
we took it off. We moved everything. They can't watch Amazon Kids or YouTube Kids or any of that like social media video stuff. They have like our Netflix on there, and so they can do their own Netflix account and like their Amazon
same.
Prime account. So if they want to watch something, they can watch an actual series of television. But we took all of that extra stuff off because they can. I'm like, no, we're not. In fact, it's funny that we're talking about it because just last night, as I was putting them to bed, I just put my daughter to bed, and he comes to me. He goes to the bathroom. He comes to me. He's, Mom, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, yeah. He goes, can I please have YouTube Kids back? I was like, why? Why do you need YouTube Kids? He was like, I just, I won't do it anymore. If I do, then you can take it away. And I was like, I don't, that's not a negotiation. You need to do better with your negotiating because I don't have to give it back to you at all. But there's that. And he was like, oh,
I know. And that's the thing, like you have to just be a parent, and I'm
mhm.
very like no, and that's it, but it is always good to explain like the reason why, and I'm horrible at that. I usually just rip things off and just like don't but I remember how I became a rebel because my parents never explained to me like the whys, and they just like no, and no is no. And so I'm like, okay, well, let me try to figure out how I can sneak it in. So I'm trying to do better, and yeah, we'll see how it goes for the next one. But tell me, how long has it been since we've been on the podcast?
It feels like longer, but I was mapping it out. It's only been like 3 weeks.
3 weeks. And 3 weeks we were